In today's video, we will look at Newton's second law for rotation and a few problems associated with it. Newton's second law relates two important things. The first one is torque, and the second one is angular acceleration. And the constant of proportionality is the moment of inertia. So this equation defines Newton's second law for rotation. What it simply says, application of torque creates angular acceleration. And as you can see, this is a rotational analog to Newton's second law that we are familiar with. F equals to ma, where a is the linear acceleration and F is the force, m being the mass. While the result itself is straightforward, using this result to solve problems can sometimes be less straightforward and even tricky. Let's look at a few problems on Newton's second law for rotation. Problem 1. A person tosses a 0.2 kg ball, using only the rotation of his forearm to accelerate the ball. This is the forearm, and you see as his forearm moves, one could model the movement as a rotation about an axis that is passing through that point perpendicular to the page. The forearm has a mass of 1.6 kg and the length from the elbow to the ball's center is 0.35 meter. The ball starts at rest and released with a speed of 35 meters per second, and this change happens in 0.4 seconds. Find the constant angular acceleration of the ball. From the definition of angular acceleration, we have the final angular speed minus the initial angular speed over the time interval. Now we know it is starting from rest, so that is 0, with a speed of 35 meters per second in 0.4 seconds. Now this is a tangential speed. So tangential speed, or the tangential final speed, is given by the radius of that circular movement times the final angular speed. The radius of the circular movement in this case is measured from here, and the movement is like that. So the radius is just the same as the length of that forearm. Delta t is 0.4 seconds. So substituting everything, you get Vf over r times delta t. Vf is 35, r is 0.35, and time interval is 0.4 seconds. And that's going to give you 250 radiant per second squared for the angular acceleration. Part B. What is the moment of inertia of the system, forearm and ball? So the moment of inertia of that system can be obtained by summing the separate moments of inertia of the ball and the forearm. The ball can be treated as point particle, so that means its moment of inertia about that axis of rotation is its mass, which is 0.2 times the distance from the axis of rotation squared. So in this case, it's 0.35 squared. That's the equation that we used. As for the forearm, it can be modeled as a rod rotating about an axis through one end. So that is the axis. So that means the equation is 1/3 times the mass of the forearm times the length of that forearm squared. So 1/3, the mass of the forearm is 1.6, L is 0.35 squared. Summing the two, we get an answer of 0.09 kg meter squared. Part C. Find the torque exerted on the system that results in the angular acceleration found in Part A. So this is where the Newton's second law of rotation comes in. It is given by the moment of inertia of the system times the angular acceleration. The moment of inertia is 0.09. Angular acceleration is 250 radiant per second squared, and that's going to give you a torque of 22.5 Newton meter. And that solves the problem. Problem 2. A solid, uniform, frictionless, cylindrical pulley of mass 4 kg, that is the one shown here, and radius 0.35 meter is used to draw water from a well, so that is the well. A bucket, that is this one, of mass 2 kg attached to a rope that is wrapped around the pulley's used for the purpose. What is the tension in the rope and acceleration of the bucket if the bucket falls from rest for 4 seconds from the top of the well before reaching the water surface? How far does it fall? So let's look at the free body diagram first of the pulley and then the bucket. For the pulley, you have a rope that is wrapped around it, and that's going to cause a tension T. The pulley has a radius R, mass M. As the bucket falls, it's going to spin with an angular acceleration of alpha. And alpha is related to the tangential acceleration of the rim of the pulley A in a following manner: A over the radius of the pulley. So this tension that is applied at the rim of the pulley creates a torque. So that torque equals the tension times the moment arm, in this case the same as the radius of the pulley, and that equals the moment of inertia of the pulley times the angular acceleration. So this line is the definition of the torque, and that line is Newton's second law for rotation. So let's expand on this equation. T is the tension, R is the radius. The moment of inertia of a solid uniform frictional cylindrical pulley is given by half times mass of the pulley times the square of the radius. And alpha in terms of A is A over R. So you see this will cancel that, and therefore this will cancel that. And you're going to get an equation for the tension in terms of linear acceleration as follows: half ma, where capital M here is the mass of the pulley. So this is equation 1. The second diagram, or free body diagram, is due to that of the bucket. So you have this bucket, the weight of which is little m times gravity. You have tension that is trying to pull it upward, and then you have this acceleration. So that means the weight, little mg, minus tension equals little ma. The bucket and the pulley are part of the same system, so they have the same acceleration. So this is equation 2. Substituting tension from 1 inside of 2, you get little m times g minus half capital M times A equals little m times A. So you can get the acceleration. The acceleration is little m times gravity over little m plus half capital M. Little m is 2 kg, capital M is 4 kg. So substituting that, you get 2g in the numerator, and then you have 2 here, and this becomes a 4. So entirely it becomes just 2. Taking g to be 9.81 will give you an acceleration of 4.905 meter per second squared. Now we can substitute the value of A in equation 1 to get tension. And if you do that, tension is half times capital M, which is 4, times A, which is 4.905, which will be 9.81 newtons. Part B. If the bucket falls from rest for 4 seconds from the top of the well before reaching the surface, the water surface, how far does it fall? We can use kinematics. So assume that this is the starting level where the speed is 0 meter per second for the bucket, and then it falls, let's say, to certain height s. Now because it's moving, or it has an initial speed of 0, we can use the kinematics equation. The acceleration is constant. We have found the acceleration to be that. So it's half at squared plus ut. So that goes away because u is 0. So half a is 4.905. T is 4, so 4 squared. And the answer is 39.2 0.24 meters. Problem 3. A bicycle tire has a mass of 2.5 kg and radius 0.4 meter. Modeling the tire as a hoop, find the moment of inertia about an axis passing through the hub at its center. So that is the tire and that is the hub. The radius is 0.4 meter. The mass is concentrated at where the radius is, and it's 2.4 kg. So we can model it as a hoop. So the moment of inertia, in this case, is just the mass times the square of the radius. The mass is 2.5, radius is 0.4 square, and that's going to be 0.4 kg meter squared. Part B. What torque is required to produce an angular acceleration of 0.8 radian per second squared? Now this can be answered directly using Newton's second law of rotation, which says torque equals moment of inertia times angular acceleration. The moment of inertia is 0.4 from part A. The angular acceleration is 0.8. And that's going to give you a torque of 0.32 Newton meter. Part C. Find the friction force that needed to be applied tangentially at the edge of the tire in order to create a torque of the magnitude found in B. So this friction will tend to stop the rolling of the tire. So you have to apply a torque on the opposite direction, and that torque comes from the friction force. So what that friction force has got to be in order to create a torque in an opposite direction so as to stop the rotation of that bicycle tire. So the frictional force, let's call it F, times the radius of the tire, which acts as a moment arm, would create the needed torque. So that means the friction is the torque, which is 0.32 Newton meter. The radius we know to be 0.4 meter, and that's going to give you 0.8 Newton as an answer for the friction. That solves the problem. Thank you for watching.